Pretty much. So I could take off my jacket.
I look like your older brother or something.
There was actually I was doing interviews earlier this year. Craig Brewer was an identical twin to me too.
Really?
And it was just like people were like, when I was interviewing before I walked in the room, people were freaking out.
We have no. You want to time this one, Mike?
I'm right here.
Okay. We got it. Randy,
Hey,
got
how are
it.
you?
I'm Frank. Have we met?
So it appears we have a problem of some magnitude.
Indeed we do.
What a great line in the movie. You know what? I think the best thing about this movie is forget about monsters or creatures or anything. It's people. I think people really show their true colors when they're in a pressure situation.
That's exactly why I loved the story that Steve King wrote, and it's exactly why I wanted to make the movie, because I think the best horror is kind of subversive and metaphorical, and there's a greater thing happening, really, at the core of it than just there's creatures outside. It's really it's sort of Lord of the Flies dynamic of what happens when people are put into a pressure cooker of fear and panic, and how do they react, and what do they do? Do they pull together? Do they tear apart? Do they turn against one another? Do they make mistakes? And that, to me, is tremendously human storytelling. That's what Stephen King does best, and that's what really turns me on when I'm thinking about getting behind the camera, is that kind of story. There's a lot of meat to it.
You must have a really good, with Stephen King, he must allow you to do anything you want to do with his stories, because, based upon what you've done in the past, is it kind of like, whatever you want to do?
I have a lot of trust from Steve. That is absolutely true, and bless his heart for that. He and I get along just so well, and he's never minded the liberties that I've taken with his material. Ultimately, he knows that in sort of in an overall sense, I'm going to really do my best to look after his material. I'm going to take care of his his intentions as well as I can, and he seems to appreciate that. And this movie, there's an ending to it that
I know, which we can't talk about.
We can't
I know,
talk about.
Absolutely. But that's one of the things too.
But he digs it.
I know. I was just saying he must dig it. But that just blows me away. Because you would think he's Stephen King. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, we've all read his stuff, and we all have in our own minds what's going on there. But for allowing you to have an interpretation, and quite frankly, to have him say, I like that. Your ending was better.
Oh, yeah. Well, the thing to remember about Stephen King is, yes, he's an icon, and yes, he's this master storyteller, and yes, he's this, this force of nature as a presence in our culture. But he's also a fan. He's also, the goofy kid who grew up, watching all the old horror movies and loving the stories, and he's still that way. He's still that sweet, goofy kid, and so he responds on that level very strongly. And when he read the script, he sent me an email saying, "Wow, if I'd thought of that ending, I'd have done that in the story." I went, "Okay, good. I have Steve's endorsement. That's awesome."
Are you a loyal director? Because we always see these great characters that keep appearing in your films, and I'm thinking, I like this because I always remember like John Wayne would always work with the same people, and
right.
I
love. Apparently, I can't make a movie without Jeffrey DeMunn. For example.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I love him, and this is the third time I've worked with Bill Sadler. I just find these actors to be a tremendously valuable part of the texture of any movie. You talk about those John Wayne films. Well, that ensemble of great character actors surrounding him elevates what's going on. It gives everything a context, and there's a reason you remember those films. It's not just because of John Wayne, And when you have guys like that, it's like having the best utility infielders in the business come and play a game with you. No matter what is required of them, they're going to be there, and they're going to give something really tremendously interesting. More so than might be on the page, in fact. They'll fill in those things for you that give it a greater texture, and I love them. I love working with them too. They're just fantastic. I'm a big fan of old character actors, as you can tell.
This is a great ride.
Thank
you so
you.
much.